Before Wall Street existed, before skyscrapers and trading floors, before digital charts and flashing screens, there was war, a brutal, bloody war that would reshape the future of money itself. Our story begins in 1694, in the stormy waters between England and France, two empires locked in a struggle for dominance. A war so expensive, so relentless, that it would force England to invent something entirely new, something the world had never seen before: national debt. This is the secret origin of modern money, the moment gold stopped being wealth and promises became the currency of empires. By the late 1600s, England was fighting for survival. France, under King Louis XIV, had the largest army in Europe and dreams of total domination. England was outnumbered, outgunned, and running out of the one thing every war needs: gold. The royal treasury was empty. The crown had pawned jewels, melted silverware, even begged wealthy nobles for loans. Armies cannot march without pay. Ships cannot sail without supplies. And England's vast wooden fleet, the backbone of its military, was rotting at the docks. The nation was weeks away from collapse. But history has a way of bending at the edge of disaster. And England's greatest weakness became its greatest innovation. When governments fail, merchants notice first. Prices rise, ships stall, trade dies. London's wealthy traders knew that if England fell, so would their fortunes. And so, a group of 40 merchants, bankers, goldsmiths, international traders gathered in a candlelit hall in London. They made a proposal so radical that even they struggled to believe it. They would lend the king £1.2 million, an enormous sum for its time, but not in gold, not in silver, not in coins at all. They would lend something else: credit, pure trust, a promise backed not by treasure, but by the future. In exchange, the king would pay them interest every year, forever. A permanent stream of income funded by taxes on the people. This wasn't a loan, it was a new system, a machine that turned promises into money, and war into profit. To manage this massive agreement, the merchants built something entirely new: the Bank of England. It wasn't a bank for the people. It wasn't a bank for businesses. It was a bank for the government, a lender designed specifically to finance the crown. For the first time in history, a government created a permanent national debt. The bank printed banknotes, paper backed not by gold, but by the king's promise to pay interest. People accepted these notes because they trusted that the government would honor its word. And because merchants accepted them, and shops accepted them, and soon, everyone accepted them. This was the moment money changed forever. Gold was no longer the center of the financial universe. Paper promises now held the power. England's experiment worked. The navy was rebuilt. The war effort revived. Trade flourished again. And as England strengthened, other nations took notice. France copied the idea. The Netherlands perfected it. And when the American colonies went to war for independence, they too issued bonds to finance their revolution. Debt became a tool of nations, a weapon as powerful as any cannon. Armies once conquered land to seize gold. Now governments issued bonds to secure capital. Wars were fought with generals and soldiers and bankers. Debt became the backbone of empires. As centuries passed, the world shifted from metal to paper, from paper to digits, from digits to massive oceans of financial instruments. Government bonds became the safest assets on earth, the foundation of global markets, the collateral behind banks, the engine of modern money. Every dollar today is backed by debt. Every euro, every yen, every pound. Money is no longer metal. It is mathematics. It is trust. It is belief. The ordinary citizen wakes up each morning believing that the money in their pocket means something. But behind every bill lies a hidden truth. It's not backed by gold. It's backed by promises, by taxes, by the state's ability to borrow and keep borrowing. This system began in 1694, the day the Bank of England opened its doors and transformed the king's desperation into a financial empire. But every revolution comes with a cost, and this one shifted power forever. Governments became dependent on lenders. Wars grew larger because they were easier to fund, and the endless river of payments flowed upward from citizens to the elite owners of debt. National debt made nations stronger, but it also created a class of invisible rulers, creditors whose influence crossed borders and centuries. To this day, central banks, bond markets, rating agencies, and global institutions shape the fate of governments more than kings ever did. Elections decide who governs, but debt decides who survives. This is the world born from that moment in 1694. If you could stand inside the Bank of England on the day it opened, you wouldn't think you were witnessing the birth of modern money. No fireworks, no grand announcement, just ledgers, quills, candle smoke, and numbers. But in those numbers lived a revolution. The world didn't realize it. The merchants didn't fully grasp it. Even the king didn't understand it. But something fundamental had shifted forever. Money was no longer a physical treasure. It had become an idea, a promise, a belief, a system built on trust, not metal. And that day, the future of global finance began. That day, money stopped being gold and became a promise.